The studio lights of The View blazed down on the iconic round table, where the atmosphere was already thick with anticipation. Chuck Norris, the martial arts legend and cultural icon, had been invited to discuss his latest charity work supporting veterans, a cause close to his heart. The audience buzzed with excitement, eager to hear from the man whose name is synonymous with toughness and larger-than-life heroics. As he settled into the guest chair, his calm demeanor and trademark cowboy hat gave no hint of the storm brewing. The co-hosts, Whoopi Goldberg, Sunny Hostin, Sarah Haynes, Alyssa Fair-Griffin, and the ever-outspoken Joy Behar, greeted him warmly. But there was an undercurrent of tension. Joy, known for her sharp wit and unfiltered opinions, seemed particularly primed, her eyes glinting with a mix of curiosity and challenge. The conversation began smoothly, with Chuck sharing heartfelt stories about his foundation's efforts to provide mental health support and resources to veterans transitioning back to civilian life. His passion was evident, and the audience responded with enthusiastic applause. Yet, as the segment progressed, Joy steered the discussion toward more contentious waters, probing Chuck on his views about current political climates and their impact on veterans' affairs. Her questions were pointed, designed to elicit a reaction, and the audience could sense the shift. Chuck, ever composed, answered thoughtfully, emphasizing unity and practical solutions over partisan divides. But Joy wasn't satisfied. She pressed harder, bringing up a controversial policy debate that had recently dominated headlines, framing it in a way that seemed to cast Chuck's perspective as outdated. The crowd murmured, sensing the rising tension. Chuck's jaw tightened, but he maintained his cool, offering a measured response that highlighted his belief in individual responsibility and community support. Joy, however, doubled down, her tone growing sharper as she challenged his stance, accusing him of sidestepping the issue. The exchange grew heated, with Joy's voice rising and Chuck's responses becoming shorter, his eyes narrowing as he sensed the conversation veering into an ambush. The other co-hosts tried to interject, with Whoopi attempting to steer things back to the charity work, but the momentum was unstoppable. Joy's persistence pushed Chuck to a rare moment of frustration, and he leaned forward, his voice steady but firm, delivering a pointed rebuttal that silenced the room. The audience gasped as Joy fired back, her words dripping with sarcasm, and suddenly, the segment felt less like a talk show and more like a verbal sparring match. Producers in the control room exchanged nervous glances, aware that this was no ordinary interview. The clash was now the focal point, overshadowing the original purpose of Chuck's appearance, and the stage was set for an unforgettable showdown. As the tension escalated, the atmosphere in the View studio crackled with intensity. Chuck Norris, a man known for his stoic resilience, found himself at the center of a verbal maelstrom, with Joy Behar unrelenting in her challenge. Her latest question, laced with a provocative edge, questioned Chuck's support for certain veterans' policies, implying they favored one political ideology over another. The audience, now fully engrossed, leaned forward in their seats, sensing that this was no longer about charity but a clash of worldviews. Chuck, maintaining his composure, responded with a story from his own experiences meeting veterans, emphasizing their need for practical, non-political solutions. His words were earnest, grounded in real-world encounters, but Joy seized the opportunity to pivot, framing his response as evasive. She leaned forward, her voice cutting through the studio like a blade, accusing him of avoiding the real issues facing the country. The crowd's reaction was mixed. Some cheered Joy's boldness, while others shifted uncomfortably, sensing the interview had crossed into personal territory. Chuck's eyes, usually warm and approachable, now carried a steely glint as he countered, his voice low but commanding, reminding everyone of his decades of service to veterans and his refusal to be boxed into a political corner. The exchange grew fiercer, with Joy's quick retorts meeting Chuck's measured but forceful replies. The other co-hosts, sensing the segment spiraling, tried to defuse the situation as Sunny Hostin interjected with a question about funding for veterans programs, while Sarah Haynes attempted a lighter tone, joking about Chuck's action hero legacy. But the attempts fell flat. Joy, undeterred, pushed further, bringing up a recent social media post that had stirred controversy among Chuck's fan base. The accusation was subtle but biting, suggesting his public image was at odds with his actions. Chuck's response was swift and direct, calling out the misrepresentation and defending his integrity with a quiet intensity that sent a ripple through the studio. The audience erupted in a mix of applause and murmurs, divided in their loyalties. Whoopi, now visibly concerned, tried to steer the conversation back to safer ground, but the damage was done. The confrontation had taken on a life of its own, and the producers, watching the clock, knew they were running out of time before the commercial break. Off-camera, a heated exchange reportedly continued, with Joy's sharp words and Chuck's unwavering stance creating a standoff that left the crew scrambling. The segment ended abruptly as the show cut to commercial, leaving the audience buzzing and the internet already lighting up with clips of the fiery exchange. The commercial break did little to cool the embers of the clash between Chuck Norris and Joy Behar. As The View returned, the studio lights seemed to burn hotter, reflecting the charged atmosphere. The producers had hoped the pause would reset the tone, but the tension was palpable as the cameras rolled again. Chuck, still seated, adjusted his hat, his expression unreadable but resolute. Joy, undaunted, picked up where she left off, framing her next question as a clarification but delivering it with a pointed edge that suggested she wasn't backing down. She referenced a past interview where Chuck had expressed views on national unity, twisting his words to imply a lack of empathy for certain social issues. The audience, now on edge, reacted with a mix of gasps and cheers, the division in the room mirroring the polarized discourse online. Chuck, clearly fed up, leaned forward, his voice carrying the weight of a man who had faced countless challenges in and out of the spotlight. He called out the tactic, accusing Joy of sensationalizing his words for drama rather than engaging in good faith. The studio fell silent, the weight of his words hanging in the air. Joy, never one to shy away from a challenge, fired back, her tone a mix of indignation and defiance, claiming she was simply holding him accountable. The exchange reached a boiling point when Chuck, in a rare display of exasperation, stood up, his chair scraping against the floor. "I came here to talk about helping veterans, not to be part of your circus," he said, his voice steady but laced with finality. The audience erupted, some cheering his stand, others booing what they saw as a refusal to engage. Whoopi, sensing the segment was unraveling, tried to mediate, urging everyone to take a breath, but Chuck was already moving toward the exit. His decision made, Joy's parting showed a sarcastic remark about tough guys running from tough questions followed him as he walked off, the cameras capturing every moment. The co-hosts were left scrambling, with Alyssa and Sarah attempting to pivot to a lighter topic, but the audience's focus was elsewhere. Social media exploded, with hashtags like #ChuckVs.Joy and #TheViewClash trending within minutes. Behind the scenes, producers were in damage control, with rumors swirling of heated off-air exchanges and even a leaked hot mic moment capturing Joy's frustration. The incident became a cultural flashpoint, with fans and critics dissecting every word, some praising Chuck for standing his ground, others accusing him of dodging accountability. The fallout was immediate, with reports though unverified claiming Chuck had been removed from the show, fueling speculation about what really happened after the cameras stopped rolling. In the aftermath of the explosive clash on The View, the incident took on a life of its own, dominating headlines and sparking endless debates across platforms. Clips of the confrontation went viral, with edited snippets amplifying the drama, some framing Chuck Norris as the hero who stood up to a biased ambush, others painting Joy Behar as the fearless interrogator holding a celebrity accountable. Social media was a battleground, with #ChuckNorrisFacts trending alongside memes joking about Chuck roundhouse kicking the talk show format. Meanwhile, serious discussions emerged about the state of discourse on daytime TV, with critics questioning whether The View had crossed a line by turning a charity-focused segment into a political spectacle. Unverified reports, like those from YouTube channels and online outlets, claimed Chuck had been kicked off the show, though no official statement from ABC, Chuck, or Joy confirmed this. A disclaimer from one source noted the lack of credible evidence, urging viewers to approach the story with skepticism. Behind the scenes, rumors swirled of a chaotic control room, with producers allegedly shouting to kill the feed as the segment spiraled. The other co-hosts, caught in the crossfire, faced their own scrutiny, with Whoopi's attempts at moderation praised by some and criticized by others as too little, too late. Joy, no stranger to controversy, remained unapologetic in later episodes, though she avoided directly addressing the incident, focusing instead on her off-Broadway play and upcoming projects. Chuck, for his part, returned to his charity work, posting a cryptic message on social media about staying true to one's values, which fans interpreted as a subtle jab at the show. The incident joined a long list of The View's fiery moments, like Rosie O'Donnell's clash with Elizabeth Hasselbeck or Whoopi and Joy's walk-off during Bill O'Reilly's appearance, cementing the show's reputation for drama. Yet, this clash felt different to Chuck's larger-than-life persona, and Joy's unrelenting style created a perfect storm, raising questions about the role of talk shows in fostering dialogue versus fueling conflict. As the dust settled, the incident remained a topic of heated debate, with no clear resolution, leaving fans and critics alike to wonder if the truth of what happened would ever fully emerge or if it would become another legend in the Chuck Norris mythos.